What's up, guys? We're back with some more Danmachi. Hopefully there's some editing there, otherwise we'll see. But so this one is a little bit different for your Danmachi veterans. Not necessarily should you click off, because there are some canon related things and some order related things that may be helpful even if you are a veteran of the series. But it is for those who want to explore more about Danmachi. We're talking about not necessarily the basics of the characters, but the basics of the show, how the show relates to the anime, and then talking about some spin-offs and what order you should watch them in and how they fit into the canon of the show.
Yeah, and which ones are probably like worth your while to like watch before you do some of the other stuff. You know, what all the nitty-gritty stuff. So do you want to just start with the books, since that's where it all began?
Yes. Okay. So there are 14 in English
currently. Official release
in English. I think 15 is in Japanese, but
yeah, 15 is in Japanese.
But anyway, so these books cover Bell and his journey in Arario and other places. Mm-hmm. This is the foundation for the show. Kind of the 14 books are. There's a lot of other canon material, but these are the core. I would say none of these books are skippable. Yeah. 8 is a side story, but it's very important for certain elements of the story.
And even core characters of the Familia. Yeah.
So, in relation to the anime, the first 5 books, Josh and I were debating this. It was probably about 3 arcs in those first 5 books.
Yeah.
You can
give or take. I mean, you know, but whatever.
Yeah. So, the first 5 books represent or cover the material, or is covered in the first season of the anime. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the books are going to have a lot more material, some background, other background.
You'll learn how the love link system works.
Yes, yeah,
which everybody says.
So they're worth reading. To be honest, I have not read the first 5 books. I don't think Josh has either.
No.
We have not read everything, and we'll get to the elephant in the room later. But so that's the first season of the show is represented to the first 5 books. So theoretically, if you wanted to just read the canon or be caught up with the canon stuff, you could start with book 6 after the first season of the show. Now, obviously, we all know that the second season has released. So that covers the material of book 6 and book 7. It does not recover. It covers a little bit of book 8.
A teensy smidgen of 8. Not really. Most of it was cut, unfortunately.
So yeah. So Danmachi's coming back for season 3 eventually.
In this summer.
Yeah.
I think July is the month.
So in the meantime, I think it's probably safe for you to go ahead and read book 8. I feel like they are transitioning straight to book 9. There may be some differences there.
I really hope they pick it up, but we don't really know. It was teased at the very end of season 3 with book 9 materials, so unfortunately probably not going to get book 8. So that is one that I would at least say highly recommend you go check it out, because I think that's something that may not get translated at all in anime form.
Okay, so continuing back on the books themselves. So then book 9, 10, 11 are an arc. I think that's probably the most complete arc in the show.
And it's the one that most people shit on for no reason.
Yeah, most people don't like the arc. I really liked it. There are some characters that change, metamorphosize, if that's not the right word, but they change.
It works, yeah.
I pronounced it wrong. So there's a lot. So there's some tension there among the community. I really enjoyed the change, and I think the characters that change, you pretty much saw them except one, and the one that you didn't see, I'm like, wow, that's a good thing for the show.
And in that arc includes one of my favorite books of the entire series. So, that's saying something. Then after that, we kind of get an offshoot of a book, but it's still technically part of the next arc after that one with
dungeon stories.
With 12, yeah, it's basically just a self-contained dungeon story, but there's like some smidge of information that's spread through that kind of relates to the next arc. But mainly the next arc after the Xeno arc, which is the 7 through 9
through 11.
Yes, 9 through 11 is. I guess we just call it the Liu arc. I don't know what the official name of it is, but it just focuses more on that character and their time on a expedition. I guess you could call it the expedition arc because it is the first time they go on an expedition. But
so that's 13 and 14. Yeah. So Josh can go ahead, probably talk about where to read both the main series and some other things, talking about where to watch the anime, and then talking about some offshoots and how they relate to the canon line that we just described.
So with the anime, I'll just start with that one. So As far as I know, the only place that you can really watch it is Crunchyroll. That's where it was, I guess, what do they call that?
Distributed or whatever.
Distributed is a word that works for this instance. That's where the main it is. But they just recently added, or at least I just noticed that it is available on Netflix. So if you guys don't have any anime specific streaming services, Netflix does have it. And when I checked, they didn't have the second season, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time before they do add it.
Great time to watch it now too, because it's a great anime. Both books are better because books are usually better, but anime really great, high quality. Good characters, and they really cover the story pretty well.
I would agree with that 100%. And then I haven't seen it anywhere else, but I think the only other one that I've heard people say is Hulu. I'm not 100% sure if that was like a timed exclusive thing that they had distribution rights or if it's still on there. But that's all I know about that. Now, there is a spin-off series that has been made into an anime adaptation, which we can talk a little bit more about that later. But the only place I've been able to see or watch that is on Amazon Prime. And if you have Prime, you can watch it for free. If you don't, then I think you have to pay like $13 or $15 for it. As far as the books go, I typically buy them on Amazon or Kindle. I mean, you know, depending. Easy. Yeah, it's really cheap too. So like Kindle, I think they're like around like anywhere from like $2 to $5 or $8. But if you get like the physical copy, it ranges from like, you know, 10 to 13. But that's still pretty reasonable. And that's, you know, I guess the best place to get them. You can buy them on like, you know, any other like bookstore if you want to get a physical copy. But the only other place I've seen it digitally is Google Play. But Google Play, the last time I checked, doesn't have all of the volumes. They're like, I think they have the first like 9. It's either 8 or 9 books, but then after that point, it gets kind of weird. Like they don't offer, I think, 10 or 11, but they offer 12 and 13 last time I checked. So, you know, you can go on there. If you're starting off, that might be a good place to start. But I would definitely say those would be the first places to check because you're going to get a better price.
And sometimes Amazon will have discounts when maybe like if the new book comes out, they may have like a bundle with the previous books for discounts, so you never know that.
Right.
So talking about spin-offs, so Sword Oratorio, I can't even say the word, Ortario, I don't know.
It's really weird because it looks like it's Orario, but it's with a T in the middle of it, so it's Ortario, I think.
Don't know.
Whatever, that could be just translation error.
A lot of people like that spin-off. We personally do not. It focuses on Eyes and Her Familia, as interesting as they are. And there are a series of books that aren't, I don't think there's quite 14 books out, but I think there's like 11 books. Mm-hmm. Belle's definitely tangential in that series, both in the TV show, the anime and the book series. Additionally, and that is one that kind of different books advance in the timeline at different parts, so it'd be hard to say. You'd have to like research yourself. Like book 7 isn't in line with the time period of book 5,
right?
Et cetera, et cetera.
Pretty much anywhere, if like you've read the main series, anywhere where you don't get mention of Loki Familia, that's probably going to have them set in their own series. The only thing that I really, I guess, should bring up to light if nobody's, you know, seen the anime or read the books is just from what people have told me. I mean, I've watched the anime, but I haven't read any of the books. But I know a lot of the book readers on the channel that have commented to us have said that they really think that the show is a misrepresentation of really what is, I guess, the focus in the books. It just focuses on a different character for the most part in the anime adaptation. So, you know, you're still going to see all the characters that are in that story or that side story, but just know that, you know, if you start the anime, I don't know if you will be able to transition into that book series as easily as you would in the main series.
Yeah, so let's talk about more of the spin-offs that we really enjoyed. First off, probably something I enjoyed almost as much as one season or book is the movie.
Yeah.
So the movie is in between, correct me if I'm wrong, but in between the timeline of book 5 and book 6, is that correct?
Yes.
So that one is canon as well, but it's something that was available in theaters. They had a good release in the United States, in Japan, some other places as well. I don't know actually where it's available to watch. I think it was done in coordination with Funimation when it came out.
Yeah, there's I can't remember the name of it. I'd probably pop it up there. There's a certain, distribution for theaters. Yeah, I think it's like Fargo or something like that. I don't remember.
But anyway,
Fandango.
Yeah, Fandango or something. Something like that. Anyway, so that's something I really recommend watching if you are caught up with season 1, or if you just binged the first season. That's something that you could watch and you'll really appreciate, even if you're not caught up on a lot of the canon stuff.
And I think it's one of those that it definitely takes the everything that was mentioned in the canon shown in the anime into consideration, but it's not necessarily I guess it could be in canon, but it's kind of like one of those things, like it's up to the author if he says it is. I know the author was attached to it, so at the end of the day he has final say. But if you're looking for something more Danmachi related, but you don't want to pick up a book and you don't you want to have something before the second season, that's the perfect thing for you.
Yeah, so additionally, and we can pop up some cover art for this editing. Additionally, we have the Liu side story, which we've been covering on our channel, linked maybe in the description or in the
little corner somewhere.
The little corners. So we've been covering the Liu side story, which we have more of a mixed opinion on. I think if you're looking for spin-off material and you're not in that sort of Ortario camp, then I think probably the Liu... I would watch the movie first and prioritize that, and I think the Liu stuff is more like if you want more material about some certain characters, it's cool.
This is my recommendation to anybody that's wanting to start that spinoff, or I would say don't read it as a spinoff, read it as a companion piece. So what I mean by that is, don't read all of the main series and then go pick up the Liu books and read all of those. I would suggest, look up where they line up in canon to the main books and read that accordingly. So I think the first 3 books of the Liu side story take place right after the war game, which is in book 6, or the first, I guess, third of the second season of the anime. So I would read those probably right after book 6, and then go read 7, and then maybe go back to finish the Liu side story, because I think it just flows better in the information you're given, and it's a little bit more relevant to that part of the story than it would be later on going back to it.
So then the other thing, which we haven't been able to get in English, which if you have a link to the series, please comment below. Please.
Be our savior.
If you have a YouTube link. Anyway, so the Freya Familia side story has come out in Japan. We don't know the timeline necessarily for that one. I believe based on the art, it would be towards the first or second season, kind of in that range. But... regardless, Freya Familia is awesome, so I would suggest checking out that if you had extra time on your hands, or if it's available in your country, go ahead and read that.
Yeah, because it looks like a really fun series. I think that one's a little bit not to say, I find it more intriguing, but I think what makes it more intriguing, or just, more enjoyable or exciting to get about at face value, is that they're centered around characters that are really not touched on much or at all really in the main series. I can't say for Sword Art Ontario, but that's something that if you're wanting some stuff that is set in the Danmachi universe, and it's an actual manga series or book, whatever, that's one that I think would be really cool, because it's a lot of information that is, even if it's small details, would probably be enlightening.
So I don't have a comprehensive list for you to see necessarily, but a lot of the contents that are available in books is available in manga form.
Yeah.
So it's also something, if you prefer that medium over maybe an anime, that is something that you can also check out.
I do know a little bit about that, where in terms of the manga, the last time, right when season 2 was airing, they had gotten up to basically the introduction or the very start of the volume 6 material in manga form. So unfortunately, if you've already watched the first season of the show, there's not going to be that much. They might they might be done with distributing the English translation of that first light novel's worth of story after the first season, but it is pretty far behind. Not as far behind as some other series, but that one's I think the Sword Art Ontario one might be a little bit more up to speed, and then the Liu one, the last time I checked, there was a light novel version of it, but I think it only covers the first 3 manga volumes, but it may cover the whole side story. That you can't quote me on, but you can look
so
it
there's
up
definitely
on Amazon.
there's opportunities in Danmachi. A good thing is it's pretty popular. It's not the most popular series in Japan, but I feel like it's with the second season it's been embraced more in the West, I think, by a lot of people. And
the movie helped too.
The movie helped as well. So there's a lot of different mediums for you to consume the content, and there's a lot of content. I think the author really cares about the material, and you can even see that in the mobile game, that he really cares about the people, the fans out there, and he really has a lot of canon material that is true to the characters, whether it be in the Liu's side story or the movie specifically. You can really tell that even if the material wasn't necessarily planned, he really made sure that it was true to the characters, and it fit well with the core narrative.
Yeah, and I guess just because you brought it up, because I was going to mention it, but I didn't want to spend too much time on it, is the mobile game, even though, not everybody that reads, manga and light novels are all gamers, but I would imagine that a good amount of them would be up to dabble in a game. But it is a game that's, it's like a turn-based, like, MMORPG or JRPG, I would say is a better description of it. But you can read a lot of canon works that were written by the author. They aren't too important, I would say, in terms of directly relating to the main series. But there is a lot of cool stuff in there that I think really adds to fleshing out some of the relationships or, just stuff going on in the universe. And it's, something that I think if you're wanting some more information about, or I guess I should say some more teases to stuff to come, but you don't really want to get spoiled to anything that's after season 2 because you're an anime only viewer, I would say the mobile game is a good way to, get some of that sprinkled in, but not fully spoil yourself.
Yeah, and if you... two things that aren't important at all. Very similar to Raid... Well, not very similar, but kind of similar genre to Raid Shadow Legends. And secondarily, goal 5 of this channel is to get sponsored by the mobile game.
Yes,
so maybe that'll
awesome.
happen in 2035. We'll see, but that'd be a cool thing. So I think pretty much that's
just
all.
Spam the Japanese version of that Twitter.
Spam it. So pretty much that's all for the basics of Danmachi. We kind of covered a lot of different stuff. If you have any questions, please comment. We'll try to answer it the best we can. Like we said, we don't have extensive knowledge of all the spin-offs, but we do have a good knowledge of the
and
core
there's
series.
Plenty of people that are in the community or subs of the channel that, if they click on the video and they see a question down in the comments, I'm sure that they would probably set you in the right direction because they're bros like that. So, don't be afraid to leave a comment there because I'm sure if we don't get to it or we don't know it, then I'm sure somebody will.
All right. Well, that's another Danmachi video. This is the 105th Danmachi. I have no idea.
There's a lot of them out there. You're getting spoiled.
Don't worry. We have more Danmachi content. We have questions coming up. We have actually some more diverse stuff, especially with our channel update if you want to watch that and see some of the new stuff that's coming up on the channel. And with that, we'll see you guys next time.
Alrighty. Peace, Addicts.